Hello, I'm Anise Hawkins, broker and owner of Venetian Realty Group. Believe it or not, there are loan programs out there that only require a 580 credit score. There's also a loan program available where your credit score is not a factor, your payment history is. I have a lot of people that ask me, how is this possible? Let me explain. As with any loan program, there are certain qualifications that must be met. Let's discuss the 580 credit score loan program. Number one, if you've had a bankruptcy, it must have been discharged for 2 years. Your credit has to have been reestablished after the bankruptcy. Now, when I say we need to have reestablished credit, all that simply means is if you've received a car and you're making the payments on it without any lates, that's a great thing. If you have a secured or an unsecured credit card and you've paid that consistently with no late payments, that is considered reestablishing your credit after the bankruptcy. What is extremely important is that you do not have any late payments after the bankruptcy. It is okay for you to have a foreclosure. The important thing to remember is your foreclosure has to have been 3 years old since it was resold by the bank. Now, a lot of people get this confused with the day that the foreclosure happened. It is not the day that the foreclosure happened. It is at the time that the bank was able to resell it. The reason being, sometimes when a bank takes a home back and it goes to the auction, it does not sell at the auction. It may take another year for that home to sell before the bank can actually get that house off of its books. This is the reason why the bank states it must have been resold and it has to have been 3 years since the sold date. Let's discuss some of the things that you cannot have on your credit report. The one thing that you must not owe are back taxes to the IRS. Those have to be paid, they have to be caught up. The second thing is that you cannot owe any back child support payments. Again, those must be current. The third thing that you cannot have are any open judgments or liens. Those items must be caught up as well. Now, there may be some extenuating circumstances, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Some of the things that you can have. You can have up to 2 late payments on your credit report within the past 12 months. That would be okay. The other thing that you can have, you actually can have a foreclosure. Just remember, it must be 3 years from the date that it was resold from the bank. You can also have a bankruptcy. As long as the bankruptcy has been discharged for 2 years and you've reestablished credit after the bankruptcy. This is a true 580 credit score loan program. For additional information, feel free to give me a call at the number below. Now let's discuss the loan program that is not credit score driven. But let me be very specific. It is not credit score driven, but it is payment history driven. With this particular loan program, they want to make sure that you have a positive payment history. It doesn't matter if you've had issues in the past, and when I say the past, I'm talking 2 years or more. It's the exact same program as the 580 credit score, which include the bankruptcy, which must be discharged for 2 years, the foreclosure, which has to be 3 years since it was resold by the bank, and of course with the bankruptcy, you cannot have had any late payments after that bankruptcy. But the one thing that I wanted to discuss with you is the extenuating circumstances, and I said I would explain that to you. An extenuating circumstance is simply there was a reason why you were late on your credit history at a certain period. What is an extenuating circumstance? I'll give you an example. Let's just say you were employed full-time. Then you were only able to work part-time. Your pay was cut. Therefore, you weren't able to maintain the money to be able to pay for your credit cards. Therefore, your credit cards were late. That is an extenuating circumstance. Or if you were full-time and because of this economy, you were laid off. You were no longer making the money that you were used to making. Another extenuating circumstance could be a medical issue. If you were in an accident, you had to have time off of work to recuperate, therefore you weren't able to continue with the same salary that you were making before, and the reason why your payments were late was because you did have a medical issue, that is considered an extenuating circumstance. With this particular loan program, they need for you to write a letter explaining your situation. This is what is important when we start discussing about your payment history. Again, it is not credit score driven, it is your payment history that is the major factor. I understand everyone's situation is unique. For additional questions, you can reach me at 678-886-8133. Let Venetian Realty Group guide you through home ownership in Georgia in the near future. Thank you and have a great day.